Eartha Kitt made a first lady cry and got exiled for it. Television networks hold dark secrets and permanent blacklists. Today we expose 20 legends banned from television forever for shocking reasons. Subscribe to uncover more hidden scandals right now. 1. Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers faced the most notorious television exile in history. Johnny Carson ruled late-night television with an iron fist. Joan served as the permanent guest host for Johnny for years. She secured her own late-night program on the Fox network. She did not tell Johnny beforehand. The king of late night felt deeply betrayed. He hung up the phone on her and never spoke a single word to her again. NBC enacted a permanent ban against the legendary comedienne. Executives refused to let her step foot on the set. The brutal punishment ruined their friendship completely. The grudge lasted for decades. The ban outlived Carson himself. Jimmy Fallon finally broke the blacklist 28 years later. The ban of Joan stands as a brutal reminder of fragile egos in show business. The network valued loyalty to one man over the career of a comedy legend. She survived the exile, but the sting of the betrayal never truly faded from her memory. 2. Eartha Kitt. The ban of Eartha Kitt shocked the entire nation. The iconic actress attended a luncheon at the White House in 1968. First Lady Lady Bird Johnson asked for her honest opinion on the Vietnam War. Eartha spoke the brutal truth. She stated that the war was sending the best young men of the country to die. The harsh reality made the First Lady burst into tears. The backlash was immediate and devastating. The CIA opened a massive dossier on the singer. Television executives blacklisted her overnight. No network would hire her for any role or variety show. The career of the star flatlined in America. She was forced to perform in Europe just to survive and make a living. The political establishment ruined her life without hesitation. It took 10 long years before she could return to American television screens. The government and the networks colluded to silence a powerful voice, simply because she made the wife of the president uncomfortable. 3. Charles Van Doren. Charles Van Doren destroyed his own television legacy. The public adored him as the brilliant champion of the quiz show 21. He graced magazine covers and became a massive celebrity. The entire nation tuned in to watch him sweat in the isolation booth. The illusion shattered when investigators uncovered a massive scandal. The producers fed Charles the answers in advance. The beloved intellectual lied to the public and to Congress under oath. NBC fired him immediately and stripped him of his lucrative television contract. The network issued a lifetime ban to distance themselves from the fraud. Charles retreated into complete obscurity. He lost his teaching job at Columbia University. He never appeared on television again. The industry treated him like absolute poison. The government hearings ruined his entire professional reputation. The ban was swift and permanent. The golden boy of television became the ultimate cautionary tale of greed and deception. The public never forgave him, and the networks never forgot the massive humiliation he caused them. 4. Hazel Scott. The story of Hazel Scott is incredibly tragic. She was a pioneering force in the entertainment industry. She became the very first Black American woman to host a national television program. The Dumont Network broadcast her show to millions. Her immense talent could not protect her from political hysteria. A notorious pamphlet called Red Channels published her name in 1950. The pamphlet accused her of holding dangerous communist sympathies. She voluntarily testified before the House Un-American Activities Committee to clear her name. The fierce defense of her civil rights backfired completely. The sponsors of her program panicked and pulled all their advertising money. The network canceled her groundbreaking show almost immediately. She suffered a permanent blacklist from American television. The corporate sponsors ruined her life without warning. The industry erased a trailblazing icon out of pure political fear. She moved to Paris to escape the intense persecution. The network executives never apologized for destroying a massive talent during the peak of the Red Scare paranoia. 5. Philip Loeb. Philip Loeb faced a brutal and unjust television exile. He starred as the beloved father figure on the hit sitcom The Goldbergs. The audiences loved his warm and funny performance. The political climate of the 1950s turned against him. Anti-communist groups targeted the actor and demanded his immediate removal from the airwaves. The creator and star of the show, Gertrude Berg, fought desperately to keep him employed. She refused to fire her friend. The sponsor, General Foods, issued a harsh ultimatum. They threatened to cancel the entire program unless the network fired Philip. The network caved to the extreme pressure and forced him out. The blacklist destroyed his livelihood completely. He could not find any work in television or theater. The cruel blacklist ruined his life beyond repair. The permanent ban broke his spirit. The tragic end of his life highlights the extreme cruelty of network executives during that era. They chose advertising dollars over a loyal and innocent employee. 6. Jean Muir. The sudden firing of Jean Muir terrified the entire acting community. She landed a major role as the mother on the highly anticipated television adaptation of The Aldrich Family. The network aggressively promoted the upcoming premiere. Right-wing groups discovered her name in a controversial political pamphlet right before the live broadcast. Angry viewers flooded the network with phone calls and telegrams. The sponsor, General Foods, panicked, just like they did in other notorious cases. NBC canceled the premiere episode at the absolute last minute. They fired Jean overnight without any investigation or fair hearing. The network executives banned her from all future productions. The swift blacklist ruined her acting career permanently. She became extremely depressed and struggled with alcoholism after the industry abandoned her. The cowardly network ruined her life over rumors. The executives proved that they would sacrifice anyone to avoid a public relations disaster. The permanent exile of the actress remains a dark stain on the history of early television broadcasting. 7. Milton Berle. Milton Berle earned the nickname Mr. Television during the early days of broadcasting. The legendary comedian expected everyone to treat him like absolute royalty. He hosted Saturday Night Live in 1979 and created an absolute nightmare. The veteran comic refused to respect the format of the modern sketch show. He completely took over the production and barked arrogant orders at the young cast. He aggressively mugged for the camera and stepped on the lines of the other actors. He even inserted offensive jokes that the writers had explicitly cut during the dress rehearsals. The final insult occurred when he orchestrated a fake standing ovation using his own friends and family in the audience. The creator of the show, Lorne Michaels, was absolutely furious. The arrogant behavior ruined his relationship with young comedians. Lorne banned the comedy legend from the studio for life. The network supported the permanent exile. The man who helped build television was no longer welcome on the biggest comedy stage in the world. 8. Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman treated television as his own personal psychology experiment. The star of the hit sitcom Taxi pushed the boundaries of comedy until they completely broke. His bizarre performances on Saturday Night Live confused and angered the studio audience. He wrestled women and refused to break character during live broadcasts. The producers grew incredibly tired of his unpredictable antics and difficult backstage behavior. The creator of the show decided to let the audience determine the fate of the comedian. The network broadcast a live call-in vote in 1982. The viewers had to choose whether Andy should stay or go. The public aggressively voted to dump the comedian. The public vote ruined his run on the show. The producer honored the results of the poll and banned Andy permanently. The comedian begged to return, but the executives held firm on the lifetime exile. The television industry could not handle a performer who refused to play by their traditional rules. The ban remained strictly enforced. 9. Sinead O'Connor. The television ban of Sinead O'Connor was the most explosive moment of the 1990s. The fierce Irish singer appeared as the musical guest on a live broadcast of Saturday Night Live. The producers expected a standard musical performance. Sinead had a completely different and shocking plan. She finished singing an a cappella song and held up a photograph of Pope John Paul II. She stared directly into the camera and ripped the photo to shreds. She told the audience to fight the real enemy. The protest against the Catholic Church caused absolute chaos in the control room. The network switchboards completely melted down from angry callers. The executives of NBC were absolutely terrified and furious. They issued a permanent and immediate lifetime ban against the singer. The television industry blacklisted her and treated her like a total outcast. The religious protest ruined her mainstream music career. The bold protest destroyed her commercial appeal, but cemented her legacy as an uncompromising rebel against authority. 10. The Doors and Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison and The Doors faced the wrath of the biggest host on television. The Ed Sullivan Show was the ultimate launching pad for musical acts in 1967. The producers reviewed the lyrics of the hit song Light My Fire during afternoon rehearsals. The executives panicked over the word higher because it strongly implied illegal drug use. They directly ordered Jim Morrison to change the lyric for the live national broadcast. The charismatic frontman agreed to the change to their faces. The band went live, and Jim deliberately sang the original drug reference with extreme emphasis. The host, Ed Sullivan, was absolutely enraged by the blatant disrespect. He canceled the rest of the contract for the band on the spot. A producer told the band they would never do the show again. Jim simply replied that they had already done the show. The rebellious act ruined their relationship with television executives. The permanent ban from the iconic program became a legendary piece of rock and roll history. 11. Steven Seagal. The television exile of Steven Seagal is a famous inside joke among comedy writers. The martial arts action star hosted Saturday Night Live in 1991. The writers and cast members immediately realized they made a massive mistake. The actor was incredibly arrogant and flatly refused to participate in jokes he did not understand. He pitched terrible and highly offensive sketch ideas about assault that disgusted the entire writing staff. He locked himself in his dressing room and treated the production crew with absolute contempt. The cast members actively hated working with him. The terrible attitude ruined his comedy reputation permanently. The creator of the show, Lorne Michaels, famously declared him the worst host in the entire history of the program. The network agreed and slapped him with a permanent lifetime ban. The action star never received another invitation to step foot in the studio. His massive ego and toxic behavior earned him one of the most well-deserved blacklists in the history of live television. 12. Adrien Brody. Adrien Brody ruined his television hosting career in just 45 seconds. The young actor had just won an Oscar, and the network expected a classy appearance on Saturday Night Live. The producers have one strict and unbreakable rule regarding the live broadcast. No performer is ever allowed to go off script or improvise without prior permission. Adrien completely ignored this legendary rule before introducing the musical guest Sean Paul. The actor stepped on stage wearing fake dreadlocks. He then proceeded to use a highly offensive fake Jamaican accent while ad-libbing a terrible unscripted introduction. The creator of the show watched in absolute horror from the control room. The unscripted joke ruined his standing with network producers. The unscripted stunt was completely unfunny and wildly inappropriate. The executives banned the Oscar winner for life the very moment he walked off the stage. The strict blacklist proved that no amount of Hollywood prestige can save a performer who disrespects the rules of live television. 13. Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa hated television, and television hated him right back. The eccentric rock icon hosted a live comedy broadcast in 1978. The producers quickly realized he had zero respect for the medium or the actors. The musician refused to engage with the material during the live show. He spent every single sketch staring blatantly at the cue cards with a look of total disgust on his face. He broke the fourth wall constantly to let the audience know he thought the jokes were stupid and unfunny. He alienated the entire cast and ruined the comedic timing of every single scene. The crew found his arrogant attitude completely unbearable. The producers banned him for life immediately after the episode ended. The miserable attitude ruined his chance at hosting again. The network executives realized you can never hire a host who thinks he is vastly superior to the show itself. The legendary musician burned his television bridges completely and never apologized for his hostile and disruptive behavior. 14. Robert Blake. Robert Blake went from a massive television star to a complete industry pariah. The tough actor became a household name, starring as the street-smart detective in the classic series Beretta. The networks loved him, and audiences tuned in every week. The horrific murder of his wife destroyed his television legacy forever. The police arrested the beloved actor and charged him with the brutal crime. The criminal trial became a massive national media spectacle. The jury eventually acquitted him of the criminal charges, but a civil court later found him liable for the wrongful death. The television industry completely blacklisted him. No network would ever touch him again. The executives erased his past shows from syndication and refused to take his phone calls. The horrific scandal ruined his legendary acting career. The permanent exile was absolute and unyielding. The industry decided that the dark cloud of murder was too toxic for their brand. The star died as an exiled outcast, completely banished from the television screens he once ruled. 15. Bill Cosby. The total erasure of Bill Cosby is the most extensive television ban in modern history. The comedian was once the most beloved father figure in America. The Cosby Show broke ratings records and saved the sitcom format. The network executives practically worshipped the ground he walked on. Decades of horrifying secrets finally caught up with the powerful star. Dozens of women came forward with identical stories of brutal assault and drugging. The criminal convictions shattered his wholesome image forever. The television networks acted swiftly to scrub him from existence. Every major network and cable channel pulled his classic sitcom from syndication. They canceled all his upcoming projects and completely blacklisted him from the entire industry. The criminal acts ruined his historical television empire. The permanent ban removed a monumental television legacy from the airwaves overnight. The executives realized his presence on screen was incredibly toxic and deeply offensive to the public. The absolute exile of the disgraced star shows how quickly television can erase a monster. 16. Jackie Mason. Jackie Mason suffered a brutal ban over a simple misunderstanding. The stand-up comedian was performing on the massive Ed Sullivan Show in 1964. The host received word that the President of the United States was about to give a live address. Ed Sullivan stood off camera and held up his fingers to signal the comedian to wrap up the act quickly. The comedian grew frustrated and made frantic hand gestures back toward the host. The host genuinely believed the comedian just gave him the middle finger on live national television. The furious host canceled the massive contract of the comedian immediately. The network banned him from the show, and the entire industry followed suit. The terrible misunderstanding ruined his massive momentum completely. The career of the comedian completely collapsed for years. The two men eventually reconciled, and the network lifted the ban, but the immense damage was already done. The misunderstanding nearly destroyed a legendary comedy career over a few frantic hand movements. 17. Paul Reubens. Paul Reubens faced a terrifying and immediate television exile in 1991. The actor created the massive cultural phenomenon Pee Wee Herman. His Saturday morning children program won endless awards and made millions of dollars. The squeaky clean image shattered when police arrested the actor at an adult movie theater. The charge was simply indecent exposure, but the network reaction was brutal and swift. CBS instantly pulled all reruns of the hit show from their schedule. The executives banned the character from television completely. Toy stores ripped his merchandise off the shelves. The media treated the actor like a complete pariah. The sudden exile from television lasted for almost a decade. The public scandal ruined his children entertainment empire. The industry completely abandoned the creative genius at the first sign of a scandal. He slowly rebuilt his career years later, but the original television ban stands as a prime example of massive corporate panic. The network destroyed a legendary empire in a matter of hours. 18. Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence crossed a massive line and paid a heavy price. The star of the hit Fox sitcom, Martin was on top of the world. He hosted a live comedy sketch show on NBC in 1994. The comedian walked on stage and delivered a monologue that went completely off the rails. He started ranting wildly about intimate female anatomy and personal hygiene. The unscripted and graphic material deeply offended the studio audience and the network executives. The control room panicked and nearly cut the live feed. The network received a massive flood of angry calls from outraged viewers. NBC immediately banned the comedy star from the network for years. The producers completely scrubbed the offensive monologue from all future reruns and syndication packages. The graphic rant ruined his relationship with the network. The severe exile proved that even massive television stars cannot defy the strict censorship rules of a major broadcasting network without facing immediate and severe career consequences. 19. Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase managed to get banned from the very show he helped make famous. The comedian was the original breakout superstar of late-night television. He returned to host his old comedy program in 1997 and unleashed pure chaos. The veteran star treated the young cast members with shocking cruelty. He verbally abused the writers and threw massive temper tantrums during rehearsals. The final straw occurred when he physically slapped cast member Cherry O'Terry on the back of the head. The entire cast revolted and demanded immediate action. The creator of the show had no choice but to ban the former superstar from ever hosting again. The exile remains one of the most famous burned bridges in show business history. The physical altercation ruined his standing at his home studio. The massive ego of the comedian destroyed his relationship with the network forever. The legendary performer learned that past glory cannot save you if you treat your coworkers like absolute garbage on a television set. 20. Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr self-destructed her massive television comeback in spectacular fashion. The network revived her classic sitcom in 2018, and the ratings were absolutely astronomical. She was the queen of television once again. The triumph lasted only a few months before disaster struck. The comedian posted an incredibly offensive and racially charged message on social media about a former government official. The backlash was explosive and immediate. The president of ABC acted without hesitation. The network fired the star from her own show and canceled the massive hit program in one brutal swoop. They permanently blacklisted her from the network. The writers quickly retooled the show and killed off her iconic character entirely. The racist post ruined her historical television comeback. The swift and permanent exile proved that modern networks will not tolerate toxic behavior, even if a show makes millions of dollars. The legendary star ruined her own legacy with a single reckless post, and the industry locked the door behind her. The television industry remains cutthroat and incredibly ruthless. We hold so much more dirty gossip to share about the terrifying dark side of Hollywood. Next week, we expose 10 child stars who destroyed their studios. Then brace yourself for the most tragic unsolved murders on television sets. You will never believe the horrific secrets network executives hide from the innocent public. Hit subscribe and ring the bell today, because the vicious gossip never stops, and the backstage scandals only get worse. The disgusting secrets of the casting couch are coming soon. Do not miss our next massive and shocking exposé.